to see you. Oh my word. So, hi, everybody. I am Jen Oliver, and this is the Real Women Speaking Summit. And this is literally simply a beautiful thing I put together as a result of taking my most recent cohort of 5 women. I do this about 3 times a year. I do cohorts of 5 women who say, "Hey, I have something I want to say," or "Hey, I want to build a signature talk," or "Hey, I really want to hit a TEDx stage." It's a variety of reasons and missions that call women into this program. But at the end of 90 days, they all end up with a talk that they have fashioned over the course of our time together. And this is a means of celebrating them, but also giving you all this cool preview of talks that will soon be out in the world, whether it's from TEDx stages, whether it's from podcasts, other platforms entirely. You are going to see these women in a whole host of environments that feel real and true and good for them. And I'm so stoked that you are here. And if you are inspired by something here, if you know anything about me, I am about the voices of women being amplified and elevated. I know there is brilliance, there is truth, there is good in the voices of women. And my entire mission, my entire coaching practice, every workshop I do is about equipping a woman to find her truest voice, not her people pleasing, performative, this is what the culture says voice, but her truest voice, and then give birth to something as a result, right? So I want you to know how vital it is that you're here. I want you to feel welcomed and a part of this, and just take in, as you listen to each woman speak, take in what this makes possible for you, what it inspires in you, what it drives forward for you. You may never have any desire to take a stage. That's perfect. That's fine. You might be an activist. You might be a quiet warrior who is the one that speaks up in a meeting room on a Zoom call and says what's true. Wherever your voice shows up, it matters. It's important. And when it's your truest voice, it is your most potent voice. And so, with that, I'm very excited to jump right in and let you hear from each of these 5 speakers. It is going to be an absolute blast. Sit back, relax, enjoy, be motivated, inspired. You're going to learn new things. Each of them are talking about topics that are so different. None of them are on, well, a few, you'll see a through line, actually. That's what's always interesting. There's usually a through line that has a commonality theme that gets woven through these talks. But by and large, you're going to get 5 very different women, very different types of speakers, because I don't believe in cookie cutter speakers where everybody looks and sounds the same. I believe in dialing up the person and who they are, what is the mission behind them that animates their words, and then strengthening them and equipping them for what's next. So, with that, we're going to get started. And you guys, okay, our first speaker is Megan Criley McKay. And I love her for a few reasons. A, this is someone who did show up into my program determined to land a TEDx stage, and she will. You will see her on the TEDx YouTube channel. It is a matter of time. And she came in absolutely committed to knowing that, okay, what is it I need to tweak? What is it? How can I take this crazy expertise that I have? And you guys, it's remarkable, her level of expertise. But how can I also show up in a way that feels real and true to me, that feels good, that feels natural, that is both full of wisdom, because she is full of wisdom. She is almost really thoughtful and cerebral and goes into data and research. But one of the things she focused on during this 90 days is, how do I make this accessible and digestible to the average person who's listening? Or how do I specialize it for a really specialized group? Because sometimes that's what a speaker wants to create. So, with that, I want to introduce Megan to you. She is wonderful. Megan, would you just give them all an idea of, for a second, what it is that you have an uncommon perspective. You came in with this clear goal. You're determined to connect with audiences, land a message that makes impact. Will you give everyone a sense? I could say all that, but why do you feel called to speak? Given everything you do in the world, you have a new book that is coming out that just arrived today, which is so perfect and kismet. So, will you give them a sense of why you feel called to speak, given all you do in the world?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jen.
Yeah.
Over the past 30 years, I've become a subject matter expert in human intelligence. I want to share with others why the truth hurts from a new perspective and how we can overcome the pain. I'm going to not only just explain truth, but demonstrate it.
I love it. I love it. And you guys, there's like a great thing. You tune into the first 30 seconds of Megan's talk and you're going to go, "Wait, what?" I'm not going to mess it up or change it for anybody's experience, but you're going to go, "Wait, what?" And you're going to lean in. It's remarkable. So with that, oh, Megan, I'm so happy you're here. Welcome. Please welcome to the Real Woman Speaking stage, Megan Criley McKay.
Every human on planet Earth will either lie or die to protect who they love and what they believe. If that sentence made you uneasy, good. Your reaction isn't moral, it's biological. Right now, your nervous system is deciding whether it's safe to listen to what comes next before logic, before reason, before morality. Your brain is asking one question: is this safe? That question runs in the nervous system, and I call it the human program. The truth hurts when it feels like it might question our identity, who we think we are. When truth threatens identity, belonging, or people we love, an alarm goes off. And when that alarm goes off, survival kicks in. Research tells us something deeply human. We are wired to protect what we believe matters most: our attachment to the people we love, our sense of belonging, our identity, our moral beliefs. Those aren't just ideas, that is our code. When something threatens our code, when loved ones are at risk, when beliefs are challenged, when we feel pushed out of the group, and when the story we tell about who we are begins to crack, the brain doesn't pause and debate, it protects. Not because we're irrational, because we're human. History also makes this clear. People sacrifice themselves for family, go to war for ideology, and shield children without hesitation. Over and over again, we see the same pattern. Humans endure extraordinary pain to protect what they believe gives their life meaning, whether or not it is the truth. Why? Because when identity and attachment are threatened, truth competes with survival, and survival usually wins. This, however, continues to hurt us until we consciously intervene. I learned this in 2007 while training as a human intelligence specialist and certified interrogator with the US Department of Defense. Interrogation training doesn't just teach you how to question others, it teaches you how to question yourself. One instructor said something I will never forget. If you don't know how to question your own assumptions, you will never extract the truth from anyone else. I am here to share why truth hurts, not as a flaw of character, but as a feature of the human program. I would like you to consider what becomes possible when we learn to work with it instead of against it, causing less pain. The human program is built in a survival operating system within our brain. It automatically protects four things: self, belonging, identity, and others. In simple terms, if it feels not safe, it activates the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response. Why? Because we are wired to survive. When truth feels scary, the brain doesn't call a timeout. It pulls an alarm. Suddenly, it feels like something is being taken from us: approval, belonging, or the story we tell about who we are. When reality clashes with that story, the brain doesn't calmly reboot. It says, danger. Psychologists call it cognitive dissonance. You might call it the moment your identity fights back. We justify, we defend, we search for articles online that agree with us. When truth threatens identity, someone being honest with us feels like a threat. Research shows social rejection activates similar pain networks as physical energy and injury. So when truth feels like exile, it hurts. The brain is a prediction machine. When reality doesn't match expectations, it flags an error like computer code. Anxiety and defensiveness rise. Curiosity drops. We just don't protect beliefs. We protect the who behind the belief. Belonging has always meant safety. So we don't avoid truth because we're weak. We avoid it because it threatens the story that makes us feel safe. Truth doesn't come out of under threat. Truth doesn't come out under threat. It comes out under safety. In a jail cell at Quantico Marine Corps Base, I reached my breaking point. Concrete walls, no clock, no windows, limited sleep, distorted time. It was enough pressure to test identity, and I reached mine. My brain was doing exactly what it was designed to do: survive. I remember the moment when something in me changed. Truth didn't disappear under pressure, it went into hiding. I hit my breaking point, but I didn't lose myself. I found myself. There was no audience, no performance, no reputation to defend. Just one question: who am I really? Not who I say I am or who I hope to be. Who am I when everything I thought I knew was stripped away? That's when I saw it clearly. Under pressure, humans don't reveal truth. We protect what we love. And the deepest thing we protect is the story of who we believe we are. In that cell, I had to confront my own story. That's when my human program became visible. It wasn't about deception. It was about identity of self. In that silence, I made a choice to be brutally honest from within. I no longer needed to lie about who I was. I would tell my core truth. My core truth was this: I believed in and loved self. And if I were ever deployed and was taken hostage, I would be willing to die. Not because I wanted to, but because there are things more important than survival alone. I realized I had a choice. I could protect myself, or I could live in alignment with who I believed I was meant to be, which is to stand for the right of every human being on planet Earth to live freely and choose their core belief. Here's what I discovered. When you tell the truth from within, especially the truth that hurts and scares you, you don't lose yourself. You become yourself. Truth hurts when it threatens who we think we are. But when we face it, integrate it, and allow it to refine us rather than defend us, it sets us free. Free to live our purpose. Free to become the best version of ourselves. And free to create safety for others who are not ready to face their own truth. That moment changed everything. I know most of you will never sit in an interrogation room or a jail cell, but you will face breaking points throughout your life. Moments when truth causes discomfort, when honesty risks belonging, when change feels dangerous. In those moments, the alarm gets loud and the truth hurts. Why? Because it forces us to choose who we are when no one is watching. But here's what most people don't know. We don't actually have to lie or die. There is a third option. Tell the truth. When we understand the human program, we can learn to work with it. Inside of every one of us, there are two voices, the alarm and the coach. The alarm says, protect yourself. The coach asks, is this a real fire or just fear? When the alarm runs unchecked, we defend. When we breathe and question, we reboot the human program. Truth doesn't emerge under threat. It emerges under safety. In the age of artificial intelligence, this matters more than ever. The human program created AI, and AI will amplify whichever version of us we feed it. If we don't regulate fear, we automate it. If we don't question bias, we scale it. If we don't examine avoidance, we industrialize it. But if we regulate the alarm, curiosity replaces fear, honesty replaces avoidance. Truth becomes a skill we practice, not a weapon of fear. That is how we reboot the human program. So, inside you is an alarm and a coach. This alarm has kept you alive, but the coach will empower you to thrive. Truth hurts because the alarm thinks change is danger. The future will not be shaped by how intelligent our machines become. It will be shaped by whether we are brave enough to quiet the alarm before we teach it to the machine. The one thing you need to remember most is this: people don't tell the truth when they feel threatened. They feel and will tell the truth when they are safe. In closing, when we understand the human program well enough to choose consciously, that's when the reboot begins and the truth stops hurting. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, Megan, this is so good. So good. Congratulations. That is phenomenal. I'm so proud of you. And You guys, I can't even tell you. There's so much Megan has. And one of the biggest things we had to focus on with her is how do we take all of this information? There is just, I mean, volumes and volumes of information, volumes of tales she can tell in her experience as an interrogator. There were so many directions she could go. And yet, how do you distill it down and decide, okay, what's the message for this particular audience? What's my primary message? And then how am I going to expand it in other environments? It's really something. Oh my gosh, Megan, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. You did
Go
amazing.
team! It took a village.
Go team. Oh my gosh, I love it. Oh, we have our next speaker up. Oh my goodness, you guys are you guys, this is great. Dr. Desi Aragon is with us, and I am totally, uh, I just, this is what's interesting, okay, about Desi, is she came into this program and it was like, I love that you, Desi, you didn't come in with like this specific talk in mind or a certain platform or I need to be on this stage. You just knew I'm deeply called. I feel called. I need to be speaking. I have things to say that are going to be of benefit to other people. And you trusted that instinct. And that's what you did. You came in here for that. It's remarkable. And then what comes of it is you stayed so open and so malleable this entire 90 days and you said, I may not have any idea where this is going, but I absolutely trust myself. I trust this process and I know I'm called to this however this is going to play. And that to me is a huge trust fall, right? But it shows such exquisite trust you have in yourself, in the divine, in all that you live and move and have your being, in us. It really, I'm honored that you're here. So I have to ask you, Desi, like, will you share just a bit about what this has meant as far as being in this program and just finding your voice? Not that you were without it before, but it's different and it's changed. So what's different for you now and what do you see moving forward?
So the call right now is that astrologically we left the age of Pisces and we are on the threshold of something called the age of Aquarius for all of humanity. And I can't sit by the sidelines and watch us stay in the Piscean age where we have war, conflict, controversy, and pain when there's a possibility of something more. You just heard Megan on this summit talk about this human program and how important it is for us to not live in that state of fear, but to live authentically. That embodies the age of Aquarius. And Jen, that moment that I called you and said, hey, I think I need to do this. And you said, my program starts tomorrow. I knew that was about segueing us into this age of understanding, into an age where we move from a community-based followership model to a community-based, truth-telling, authentic place of well-being. Yes, right? That's what we need. That's why now, that's what this is meant to me.
Oh, I love it. I'm so happy you're here. And with that, I'm going to kick you right off. Here we go, folks. Dr. Desi Aragon.
I am the vibe with the fire in my chest, channeling the cosmos, no need to second guess. I speak in downloads, dancing divine, turn pain into power and time into shine. From spirit to stage, I bridge what's true with the mic in my hand and a soul crew too. Retreats, plays and a love-soaked sound. I lift the veil and break it down. I'm Dr. Desi, you feel that spark. I lead with joy, I light the dark. I vibe rebel with a sacred goal to wake this world and free your soul. I am the vibe, the voice, the flame.
Oh my gosh, Jen, thank you so much. That's my newest anthem, and it was created by a dear, dear love of mine who helped me to see more of myself and have a whole lot of fun doing it. The thing about the anthem is it speaks the truth I've had my whole life. I was reading angel cards with my mom before I was double digits in age. It's always been a part of me to be connected with spirit and the divine. And even though that's the truth, and even though I've carried it all along my journey, there reached a point where that story that you hear in that anthem became invisible to me. I know who I am. I know that I speak in downloads. I know I run women's retreats. I know that I love spirit in my relationship there. And yet I got into a relationship that I thought was going to be my lifetime relationship. I thought we were in it for the long haul. And I believed in that person, and I believed in myself, and I believed that together we were going to make magic. But somehow we brought past traumas, and those past traumas, they brought us together and simultaneously made me a whole lot smaller. Inside of that relationship, I lost some of these things that are in my inherent high vibe truth. And it's funny because I look now and I get to live this anthem, this bringing the vibe way of being every single day now. And it feels wonderful to wake up. But there was a time when waking up felt really hard and I just didn't feel like things were well. My hair was thinning. My tiredness was continuing to kind of weigh on me. The fatigue, the career that I had once loved, I no longer wanted to learn it. I literally stopped functioning in all the ways that I'd known myself to function, and I didn't understand why. A doctor asked me, "Are you experiencing depression?" No, of course not. I'd never felt anything like what I would call depression. But something was coming up for me that I didn't understand wanted to reveal itself. One day, that relationship came to an end, and we knew for sure we weren't going to go forward. And this once lifetime vision of being together was no longer. And I was sitting across from the person, and we were having to discuss logistics and what we would do about this and that. And we'd both known the relationship had come to its end. He was talking with the waitress, talking at the bar, really having a good time, quite jovial, quite charismatic, just fun. And I remembered that man that I'd fallen in love with because that's how he showed up 100% of the time. He never changed during our entire relationship together. And we were sitting kind of close in the restaurant, and he leaned in and decided that he was going to be confrontational with me because he had some opinions. And he was telling me about what he thought about me, my future, my actions going forward. And he decided to tell me how he thought I felt about myself. He leaned in, and after being quite boisterous with the waitress, used a much more quiet voice and said, "You know what your problem is? Your problem is that you're ashamed of yourself." Ashamed of myself, I thought. He's right. I am ashamed of myself. And I really called it in. I called it in and I thought about it. And I knew he was speaking the truth. Our other speaker in the summit just said something really powerful. She said that when we understand the human program, we can work with it. And in that moment, he gave me something to work with. Somehow, Spirit spoke through me and gave me the words to say, "You're right. I am ashamed of myself. I'm ashamed of my sensitivities. I'm ashamed that I'm too sensitive, that I'm so sensitive that the world feels hard sometimes, and that I've had to hide this part of me because it's not safe to be sensitive here. I'm ashamed, you're right, but not of the things that he thought I was ashamed of. I was ashamed of being all of myself. I was ashamed of showing up authentically. I was ashamed of showing up as the sensitive soul I am. Now, don't get me wrong, people generally knew I'm kind or sensitive in some ways, but in that relationship, I had to hide it all the time in order to make sure that we felt safe. We were trauma bonded. It was just the way that it was. The rules of our relationship were that he show up in a certain way, and then I make sure I acquiesce, accommodate, and make him feel good. It wasn't entirely his fault or my fault. We were just wired that way from childhood and didn't know how to talk about it. In that moment, when he felt confrontational, I was freed. I was freed. Now, it didn't like instantly change me. I had a lot of work to do. I went and I did therapy. I talked about this idea of being a highly sensitive person. I tried to understand it a bit more. I had a lot of conversations about something called the cycle of violence. And my relationship didn't involve any physical abuse, but it turns out that our trauma bond was connected to these behaviors that came from my childhood and things that I was seeking in the cycle of violence types of things. They are control behaviors, they're accommodating behaviors. And so I had to learn a lot about that. And it was a time of retreat. It was a time that was tearful. Some call it the dark night of the soul, but I didn't have to do it alone. And I'm really lucky because I have a lot of fun people around me. As a matter of fact, that's how I got that anthem, was from my fun folks, right? And so one day, a few years after that aha about being too sensitive, and now coming into more of myself and my understanding and being more comfortable with it, I was feeling pretty good. And then I had a fallback moment. You know, one of those things where instead of setting a boundary, I actually was overly accommodating. And then I was asking myself, oh my God, why am I here? Am I in this pattern again? Am I ever going to break it? Right. And I was talking to my friend Katie. And Katie said to me, she goes, oh my God, right? They just show up. They're like remnants, right? They're just these leftover things that sometimes want to kind of have themselves release. And I said, yeah, we need to just throw those remnants out, take them to the dumps. And Katie said, oh yeah, girl, we're going on a dump run. And then she said, you know what? Better than that, let's light it on fire. Hey, Jen, how about we go into a little dance break? I think for all of us, if you're sitting there watching right now, give yourself a moment. We're going to say, play some music, and we're going to have it be some fun so we can go on that dump run together and we can hear about releasing this trauma bond. All right, Jen, let's make it happen. If you want to dance with us, we'd love to have it go.
At first it was fun, just a gentle simmer. You were charming, easy to believe, lifting you up while shrinking me. The rules became clear. I made my life smaller, contained it tight so you could feel bigger. Thought that was right, but holding back only dimmed my flame. Now I release it, I'm not the same. Remnants of trauma misleading.
so much for dancing with me, for being present with me, for hearing that story. I have a little bit more to share. So Katie and I, we talked about that dumb run. We talked about releasing that trauma bond, and we talked about having some fun with it. But there's a little bit more to it. You see, when we wrote that anthem song, the application that helped us to make the music used a phoenix in its graphic. And then when we wrote the dump run song, the dumpster fire was again a phoenix. I didn't think anything of those two things. As a matter of fact, it didn't even really cross my mind until I had to pull them up for this talk. And I'm going to say, our fearless leader for this summit has really encouraged us to bring all of ourselves. For this summit, I didn't want to show up with this talk. I'm Gen X. I wanted to be an expert. I wanted to tell you what to do, but not share with you what I've been through. It's safer that way sometimes. But this phoenix was telling me something, and it was going to tell me something more. In January of 2026, I was doing a workshop with my friend Robin, and we were doing some guided meditations. And Robin led us on a guided journey, a shamanic journey, where we were asked to connect with a spirit animal. And as we went on this guided meditation journey, I was brought to a cove, a beautiful mermaid cove. It was sandy beaches. It had this wonderful cave rock over us. It was enclosed in a way that felt safe and secure. There was water of the ocean coming up to the beach. And I looked around and there was no animal there for me. And I thought, oh, I guess when we go back after our journey finishes, I'm going to be one of the folks who reports, no animal for me today. I found peace inside of that because I knew even being in a relaxed state of meditation was enough and a wonderful way to start 2026. But still, I looked around and all of a sudden, from the sand of the beach, something began to rise up. It was ashes forming into a phoenix. I looked at this phoenix looked at me, and as we stared at each other, the phoenix set me on fire. Suddenly, my whole body was on fire, and the phoenix asked me to dance. Dance like we did with the anthem, dance like we did with the dumpster fire, dance, it said, dance. Move your body, be a part of this world. And so I did. The phoenix and I, we danced together as it rose in its full glory. It was beautiful. And then Robin said, your animal has a message for you. What is it? And I looked at my phoenix and I said, what's my message? And my phoenix said, you can transform in every and any moment. You can transform in any and every moment. Yeah, that's right. That's right. This phoenix has become a symbol for me of transforming in every moment. I don't need to hold on to anything. When those remnants show back up, it's okay. Light them on fire, let them dissolve, and transform again. Just like Megan in the summit said, our human program is designed for us to be able to look at it again and again so that we don't have attachment to what was, but we keep becoming what we're meant to be. In conception, science tells us that when the egg chooses her sperm, and by the way, the egg does make the choice, when the egg chooses her sperm and that sperm connects and the egg says, yes, you can come in here, there's something called the spark of life. Google it. You'll love learning about it. That spark of life keeps a thunderbolt type of experience when the sperm meets the egg. Well, isn't this like my phoenix? As soon as we have the aha, the realization that we can make a new choice, that we can be different, that there's more that's possible, then we can use that spark to light the fire of becoming whatever it is we're meant to be next. And in the age of Aquarius, the thing we most need to be is authentic. We need to be the absolute truth of ourselves, and we need to give ourselves permission to not be who we were yesterday and to not be too attached to who we're going to be in the future, but to be who we need ourselves to be today and to tell the truth about it. I love you. I'm so glad that we're here together. I'm so grateful to Jen Oliver and to my colleagues who have participated in this with me. And I'm so glad to be with everybody who joined us so that you can know that this spark of life is something in all of us, and we can do it together, and we can build a better humanity. Thank you.
Oh, yes, Desi! Oh my gosh, I love this so much. I am so, so proud of you. Oh my gosh, Desi. Thank you, thank you, thank you for trusting yourself, trusting this process, trusting that the exact message that is coming through is not just for you, it's for other people. This was such a beautiful example of who you are and the way you show up in the world. And again, the way someone can show up to speak and share a message that's true to them, from adding music into it to going, yep, we're going to have a dance break. I love it. And then I'm still reminded of that Phoenix that was in that video that then I brought into the, I mean, I can't even tell you. Y'all, there are so many beautiful, synchronistic, gorgeous things happening around all of us at all times. And Desi has awakened me to seeing more of them. And I'm really grateful. I'm so glad you were here. Oh, God, I love it. Okay, this is perfect. You guys, there's more. Okay, our next speaker is Nicole Pope, and she is a vibrant example of someone with all kinds of voices and inputs that she hears on a daily basis, literally. And yet, one of the most important things we all can learn as speakers is trusting ourselves to be conduit, to find our own deepest message, or understand we might be conduit delivering a message from or to other people. And I really sense in so many ways that, well, not sense, I know this about Nicole Pope, is she absolutely is doing that. And she came into this as well thinking to herself, okay, I'm not even sure I want to be on a TED stage or on a stage, but I know I'm meant to start sharing my story and sharing what I know with other people. And so I'm going to invite her to our stage and give her the opportunity to speak to you all. And if we have a technical glitch, because Nicole has had technical challenges this morning, don't worry, I will bring her back. Excuse me. And you'll still get to hear from her. It just might be in a different order. Okay. So with that, welcome Nicole Pope. Yes, there's my girl. Hey,
is it working?
It's working.
Is it actually working? So of course this happens on the most astrological, eventful day in the course of like the entire year. So is it okay? I'm okay to sit this one out because technology is definitely wonky. Okay.
You're perfect. Let's do it.
With it.
Tell them a little bit about you and why you are doing this, and then I'm going to mute myself and let you take over.
Okay, that sounds good. So hi, everyone. I am Nicole Pope. I'm a former Six Sigma transformation executive turned evidential medium. And yes, those two things live in the same sentence for me. For 2 decades, I measured success in numbers, revenue impact, operational efficiency, and measurable outcomes. And then you're going to hear about my son's experiences with spirit that forced me into a world that I couldn't quantify. So I did what every data-minded skeptic would do, and I'm going to talk about that. And what I found absolutely stunned me across all the different connections that I've had with the dead, the messages were strikingly consistent. So I am so excited to talk about the data and the dead with all of you and how we are measuring success wrong today.
I don't want to wait another minute. Okay, you all, this is going to absolutely blow your mind. There's so much here and it's beautiful. So, with that, will you please welcome to our stage? I know, right? We are having a really special moment right now, and we can't even quantify what's happening, but you just dig into this, receive what Nicole has to share for yourself in a way that serves you. You're going to love it. Okay. And with that, please welcome Nicole Pope.
Okay. Thanks so much, everyone. This is not recording locally. I've run out of browser storage, by the way. So this is a one-time deal for all of you. This is going to be really fun. So, and by the way, not surprised at all. The technology always fails around me, always. So bear with me if there are some technical difficulties. Okay. You learn a lot when you talk to the dead for a living. Reactions to my work vary widely. Discomfort, disbelief, curiosity, quiet openness. And however it lands for you, you are certainly welcome here. And it's not because I'm trying to convince you to change your beliefs, it's because I want to share what this work has shown me about love, loss, and what it means to be a human. What this work, talking to the dead, looks like day after day is sitting with people in their most intimate moments of their lives, holding space for grief, for memory, for unfinished conversations. And in every connection, I facilitate a reunion between the living and someone they loved deeply. Their unique stories unfold as the evidence comes forward, details of the person, shared memories, and all the inside jokes that only make sense to those who live the relationship. The connection, while it tells a unique story, the messages relayed are often the same. And it's not because the relationships are similar, it's because the truths being shared are. And the consistency of these messages across readings becomes impossible to ignore. I love you. I miss you. I'm proud of you. I have never left your side, not for a moment. And I want you to be happy. They want you to be happy. And now you need to know, I haven't always talked to the dead as an evidential medium. For the first 36 years of my life, I was completely clueless that I had this ability. I was an ordinary woman, and the supernatural was simply not on my radar. I was happily married with 2 kids and a dog. I graduated top of my class with a business degree. I was thriving in my career as a Six Sigma transformation executive, which, by the way, is just a fancy way to say that I help companies scale and solve problems using data. I worked directly with C-suite executives in practical settings like banking and insurance, and I implemented projects to the tune of $50 million in measurable benefits. And as my last name implies, I was also raised in the traditions of the Catholic faith, and it's all very standard to me. So in other words, I checked all the typical boxes for success and happiness, where there was very little in my world that pointed to anything that was out of the ordinary. Until my young son told me that he could see dead people. He described them as shadow people, and they were just as real in 3D as you or I, but they looked all black like silhouettes. He saw them everywhere, in his bedroom, in our basement. He was terrified and had panic attacks the moment he was alone. He slept with all his lights on and a blanket over his head. And I'll be honest with you, for a while, I thought he just had a really vivid imagination, and I wrote it all off as something he would eventually grow out of. But when I playfully asked him if the shadow person had a name that was following him all around his bedroom, he told me my uncle's name, who had died long before he was born. And suddenly, stop it. See, this is what happens. I cry when I talk about them because they're all here with you. Suddenly, my perfectly curated world came crashing down on me, and my confidence and control of predictable and tangible things were replaced by the same emotions my son was feeling, which was fear and panic. My mothering instincts took hold before the fear could anchor itself in me, and I did what any mom would do to protect her child from the unseen. I signed up for mediumship classes. I did it. And my teacher had her work absolutely cut out for her because I was fearful, I was skeptical, I was determined, and I was looking to connect with the dead fast so that I could help my son. She understood the assignment. In our very first class, she walked me through the process and then she had me practice. I closed my eyes and I set the intention to connect with a departed person that my teacher would know. And a few moments later, the blackness of my mind slowed and transformed into an image of a gorgeous elderly woman. She was short and frail. She was dressed all in red with a beautiful hat on. The vision was crystal clear, like a movie was playing out in my imagination. In a flash, this woman brought me to the neighborhood that she lived in. She showed me the exterior of her house, and she pointed out her beloved garden next to the road. I was in complete awe, looking at the images as they slowed to black. I opened my eyes, and my teacher was grinning. She confirmed this gorgeous woman was her departed neighbor, and she often stepped in to greet her beginner students. The garden was her pride and joy. My jaw was on the floor. Did I really just do that? Like, was it really that easy to connect with the dead? I was not convinced. I needed more data. And so I gathered it. With every single reading, I documented everything I could remember about the session. I tracked the number of dead people we connected to, what the relationship was, what was the specific evidence I was able to validate, and what messages the dead wanted me to deliver. And after a few months, I had spreadsheets worth of data that removed all doubt and proved to me that mediumship is real and talking to the dead is real, that our loved ones absolutely want to connect with us. And across readings, there are consistent messages of love and advice to live our best lives. And now I realize that talking to the dead rarely qualifies as a reliable data source. And so for those skeptics out there, let's bring in some data from the living. I'm going to introduce you to Bronnie Ware, an Australian palliative care nurse who has spent years with patients in their final weeks of life. And in doing so, she collected firsthand accounts of people's regrets when looking back on their lives. She discovered the top 2 regrets of the dying are, number 1, I wish I had the courage to live a life that was true to myself and not the life others expected of me. And number 2, I wish I had let myself be happier. The data from the dead and Bronnie Ware's research tell the same story, that the lessons that surface at the end of life are meant to guide how we live. And living in alignment doesn't require a total life overhaul. The path is surprisingly simple and practical, and I've consistently seen people move towards a life that is true to them by following 3 simple steps. Number 1, make space. Many of us are carrying so much more than we need, and it's not because it serves us, it's because it is familiar or expected. Take a look at your to-do list with discernment. Does it reflect what energizes you, what you value, what actually matters? And if not, that's where you start. Release what no longer aligns so that there's room for what does. Number 2, seek unconditional joy. So many of us treat joy as something to be earned. I'll be happy when the job comes, when the relationship is here, and when this milestone is met. But joy is not a reward, it's a way of living. There is beauty and meaning available in every moment if we allow ourselves to see it. Give yourself permission to experience joy without conditions. And number 3, say yes. Follow what sparks curiosity and excitement, especially when it doesn't make sense. These things that feel a little strange or unexpected are often the most authentic for you. So whether it lasts a moment or a lifetime, your passions carry purpose. Say yes and let them show you where it's going to lead you. What is so beautiful about this process is how it just naturally unfolds alignment. These are the same steps that I began following while I was still living my very ordinary yet successful life. From the outside, the transition from a data-driven executive to an evidential medium can look really sudden, but in reality, it emerged quietly through a series of small, intentional choices over time. because first I made space. I stopped forcing myself into a life that looked good on paper but felt wrong in my body. I loosened my grip on certainty, titles, expectations, and let myself fully listen. Then I followed joy, and not the kind that came with promotions or praise, but the kind that felt alive, curious, expansive, the kind that pulled me forward instead of burning me out. And eventually, I said yes, again and again, until one day I recognized that I had quietly shifted away from the life society told me I should be happy in to a life I truly love. Never in a million years did I think I would be talking to the dead, but I know exactly where I'm supposed to be. And now that I'm living in alignment, I realize it's not just about happiness. It has real, measurable impacts on our longevity. The Harvard study of adult development, the longest study on human happiness, followed people for more than 80 years and found that those who lived with strong connection, purpose, and authenticity lived up to 7 to 10 years longer with fewer chronic illnesses and slower cognitive decline. I see a direct implication in all of this for us. This isn't about the dead and dying wishing for a redo. It is a gorgeous invitation for us to pursue longer, healthier lives by connecting to our purpose as much as we connect others, to pause and question our life's choices to ensure that we are in alignment with what truly matters to us, and to consider what we truly want in the pursuit of happiness. That's how the dead define success. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, Nicole, you did this. Oh my gosh. Could you have had more crazy technological stuff happen? And of course you did. Of course you did. And I'm so proud of you. I love this message so much. I can't wait for the rest of the world to hear it. And thank you. Thank you for trusting this whole group. Thank you for trusting the audience and just diving in deep with us. What a gift. What a total gift. So glad you're here. Ah! Okay, you guys, we have two speakers left. Two speakers. We have Nicole Townsend and Shane Dias, and I am really jazzed for you to hear from them, to know them. The thing about Nicole Townsend, who is our next speaker, is she and I were talking and she goes, I don't know. I have this great talk. I have worked so hard on it and I just don't necessarily feel I can deliver it because it's like I don't have all my ducks in a row. I'm not perfectly crushing the exact message I'm giving. I feel a little bit hypocritical. So I said, but that's okay. Like sometimes we are just giving our message and we're trusting it and we're admitting we're in process. That's me all the time. I have not crushed it as a communicator or truth teller. I'm learning every day and getting better at it, but we still do it. So Nicole, will you just say a little bit more about that? Because you were really going to just not speak today and hold off. And I was totally supportive of you because it's very important, you all, to recognize that sharing your truth and speaking is under your own volition. There is no pressure and it needs to be feeling aligned and true to you. And so that's why I supported Nicole and said, if it's not the right day and not the right time, then we don't. Then you can just opt out. And then she came back to me. So Nicole, do you want to just say a little more about that before you get started?
Yes, Jen, thank you so much. And it's really because you helped me see that it's not about perfection, it's about intention. And that these 90 days, you've helped us really bring out our voices and give us the courage to share. So even if I'm not doing what I'm talking about perfectly, that's okay. It's really all about extending connection to people who might be in the same position I'm in and may learn something from what I've been learning.
Totally, totally. Well, with that, you all, I think many are going to resonate with Nicole's message. Please welcome to the Real Women Speaking Summit, Nicole Townsend.
I remember that day so clearly, even though I wasn't so clear. My senses, they were dulled by a dose of Norco that I had taken as I was recovering from my latest surgery. A year before, out of nowhere, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. 3 months after that, I had a double mastectomy. And 3 months later, I went through 25 days of radiation. And now I was in the final loop of that hellish roller coaster called cancer. I was free of it, which was great. And I was in that phase of reconstruction surgery, which should be my last, hopefully. But I was there, lying in bed, unable to move. Then I heard it, the old phone ringtone, screaming through my cell phone. It jolted me up because I didn't need to look at the screen to know who that was. It was my 94-year-old grandma, and she never ever called. So something was wrong. Groggy and foggy, I picked up that phone, and she was crying. She was missing some medication. She had tried some of the other family, but they hadn't picked up. And then she cried more because she had to call me, knowing I was in recovery. But I told her, "Don't cry, Omi. It's okay. I'll take care of it." And I did. I always did. A little while later, I had fallen asleep again. This time, it was the doorbell ringtone. That's my mom. I told her what happened with my grandma. And I told her, "Mom, we really need some more help, some more backups." And unsure what to say, she said what she says so many times: "We'll figure it out." There was a lot of me in that we. Enough was enough. I'd done enough. I'd had enough. That was my moment. I took everything I had, all the energy, and yelled, "Take this off me." And I hung up the phone. Was it a breaking point, or a realization, or a final understanding? All of the above. In that moment, I realized enough was enough. I realized also that I wasn't alone. This is what I call the club sandwich generation. We're more than a sandwich generation. We are like the toothpick that holds that club sandwich together, because we are caring for layers of family. Oftentimes, we still have teenage or young adult kids, and you know how long they stay in the home. We have parents who might be ailing. My mom has Parkinson's. Grandparents, if we're lucky. We've already heard about my Omi. And some even have grandkids. That's a lot of responsibility. Now, most caregivers, about 60%, are women. And most happen to be in my age group, 45 to 55. And what's happening is we're caring not only for our families, but still we're in the thick of our careers, not ready to retire, at the highest earning potential of our lifetimes. So still really need to focus on work. And not to mention, we are in hormone hell. Perimenopause, menopause. What a time for all of this. We are the group among all age groups that report the highest stress levels of any. And we describe ourselves as constantly overwhelmed. It's hurting our health. And this is seen in missed screenings, delayed checkups. It's also seen in higher rates of depression and burnout and cancer. Yes, cancer. My age group has the highest rate of cancer diagnoses, in particular breast cancer, and the highest incidence. So it caused me to wonder, did putting people first, did caring for others before myself, did that make me sick? No, not completely. But I'll bet it contributed. Because we're caught in this perfect storm. It's of maximum responsibility and minimum support. And we are yelling together, take it off us. While society says, we'll figure it out. Well, enough is enough. We've done enough. We want to shed those titles of the scheduling savant and the keeper of all things, from keys to socks. We are done being everyone's backup plan. We've had enough of placating ourselves, sharing memes that depict realistically our lives, and sending them to friends with LOL emojis. Drinking wine, oh, we drink wine, our elixir marketed to us to quiet our buzzing minds. And shopping for those dopamine hits in the moment, which we most likely will return once they arrive. And we try to solve it together. Vision boarding. I have 3 just from this year alone. Meditation, box breathing, and my favorite, sound bowls. Women's conferences, retreats, and circles. These are all amazing, inspiring, and empowering things. Yet they're not the complete answer. We see the light. We want better for ourselves and especially for our daughters. And yet our identities as the dependable one, they're really tough to shed. I know because I'm still working on it every single day. So I want to offer some tangible ideas to encourage you to give yourself permission to recognize. Enough is pausing before you jump in. Enough is asking questions instead of giving the answers. Enough is letting discomfort sit for you and the other person. Because when you start chipping away at the scaffolding of sacrifice, you will realize always being of service to others, well, that's a disservice to you and to them. And the most powerful thing that we can do is stop proving what's already true. We are enough.
Yes! Nicole, I cannot. I'm so stoked. You did amazing. Y'all, you need to know this group, honestly, this group started 90 days ago together. There was a lot of, in my process, we do a lot of finding our truest voice, dismantling any voices that are getting in our way, moving aside our limiting beliefs as it relates to using our voice, to even thinking we deserve or should speak in front of other people. And there is a whole process we go through. Then we go through, what are the ideas that matter to you? What is truly something that is a mission that you have? And so some speakers come in with an idea already, sometimes even a talk that they've written. Others come in with absolutely nothing and not sure where they're going to go. Then we build those talks. We build the building blocks, the stories, the how this is going to look, how it's going to lay out. And then we have a finished product that just got finished and refined over the last few weeks. So you guys are seeing the first time all of these women are delivering the talks that have just been built. That's remarkable to me. That's what's bleh. We also can talk. That is what's possible for anyone. That was just 90 days. 90 days of getting confident enough and going, I know I have something of value here. I am not going to buy into this chatter in my head that's telling me otherwise. Oh, okay. I can drop into that, feel what that real truth is, that deep knowing that's going to inform my talking points, and I can rely on that. Oh, okay, great. And now I'm going to put these pieces together, and then I'm going to refine them, and I'm going to create around who I am and what's my way of delivery and the way it feels true to me. And then here I am. That's literally what these women just did. So I'm so proud of you, Nicole. Well done. And we get to hear from our final speaker. You guys, this is it. Our final speaker of the Real Women Speaking Summit. I love this woman, Shane Dias. Where do we even begin? Because you already, honestly, you've spoken in a number of places. You come in here from Australia. You've spoken in places like South Africa, Australia. This is not new to you. You're not unfamiliar with speaking, but yet you felt like something new was coming through here. You even said, like, I'm brushing up against something. What am I actually even doing? And I love your candor and your authenticity and your vulnerability in saying that, because sometimes this work of finding our true voice, or depends on what season of life we're in, building a talk really, I believe, is a catalyst for growth and purpose finding. It's not an easy thing. It's a real shedding sometimes. It's like it's its own therapeutic quality, right? So it's not just about writing a talk and nailing it, don't you think? And how are you feeling coming into this, Shane, right now? How's that feeling for you?
Yeah, thanks, Jen. I'm feeling like a newbie coming into speaking, because every bit of speaking I do, it's slightly different. And when I joined you, I thought something's changing, and I need to speak it. So it's the only way I know how to go to my changes, is to speak it.
Yeah,
And yeah.
I love it. Well, we are so excited to hear from you, our final speaker in the Real Women Speaking Summit. Please welcome Shane Dias.
Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, I decided to speak about retirement. Now, hell, retirement. Who speaks about retirement? And trust me, this is not going to be about statistics, spreadsheets, uh, anything to do with that. I've taken it at a different level. Retirement. Retirement is that word that gets used, and I don't think anybody speaks about the actual darker side to retirement. Mm. So may I ask you a question? Have you ever, raise your hand if you have ever thought about retirement? Is it that, yeah, I see you. It's that little bit of a honeymoon thing about it, isn't it? Oh, I can sleep late. Oh, I can go on holidays. I can do anything I want to. I'm not in a routine. I can go to have lunch when I want to. I can join my friends. I can even go and play golf. I've never played golf. And can I tell you, that little ball, it ain't worth it. So that's one I dropped. There's walks, can go walking. Yeah, all those things. Yeah. And I recently heard a TEDx talk by Dr. Riley Moynes, and it was around the 4 stages of retirement. And these 4 stages suddenly hit me so hard, because it made me realize I lived that. And I didn't even know that there is a stage for retirement. I remember walking up and down my dining room, looking out over the valley, through the window, out over the valley. And I thought, there's something deep inside of me. There's something it's just not feeling right. There's a heaviness. There's something that needs to come through. Now, I'd reached 50, and this was retirement. I could go out and do anything I wanted to do. And yes, the first stage, which Dr. Moyne spoke about, those 4 stages, which is the honeymoon stage, sleep late, do all those things. Then you get to the next stage, which is like, and I think I was in that stage. And then the third stage is, maybe there is more to life. And the fourth stage is, we're coasting along nicely. So as I was walking through this page and pacing in front of the window, I was in that second stage. Because the first stage was jolly fun. Because if this is what retirement was for me, it was a little trip around the world. I mean, hell, let's go fly, let's go, do all the things. Let's just see these wonderful places. I love exploring, so let's do that. Let's just spread our wings. Well, you can only go so far, and your money can only take you that far. And then you think, well, okay. Pacing. And so I've done that. I've done stage 1. Stage 2. This is the space nobody speaks to you about. This is the space, unless you're really fortunate and you keep going, this is a stage where you actually hit, I don't like using the word depression. It's a bit of a heavy, really heavy feeling. And you really, and it's empty. Look, with the kids having left home, as I said, and hubby was still working, I was standing here thinking, is this retirement? But luckily, at that stage, I'd already started exploring personal development. What? At the age of 50? Aren't you supposed to do that years ago? No, that's a stage where I started looking at, who am I? I'm not my kid's mother. I'm not my husband's wife. Who am I? Who am I truly? And what is my purpose? Why have I been put on this planet? We've done great things with the kids, all successful, everything. But at the end of the day, it comes down to me. Who am I? And as I continued with this exploration, I took on a few sort of little things that I enjoyed doing. I thought, I'll dabble in this and I'll dabble in that. But nothing gave me a huge fulfillment because I found there was still something deep down inside of me missing. And it's funny, the body keeps an account. The body keeps the score. Now, I'll get his name wrong, but it's Dr. van Bezel, I think, who has written the book around The Body Keeps the Score. And it's you can feel in your body when you know, because that's what I was going through. I knew there was something deeper down that needed to come out. But the body keeps a score of all the things you do in your lifetime, and it builds it up, like layer upon layer. And unless you address them, which I didn't, when you're young, you're resilient. Yeah, flick that one off. Yeah, don't care about that. It keeps the score. And you get this little nudge and a little nudge, and carry on. You're resilient. Until on a day, I had that diagnosis that no woman ever wants to hear. And that was, discovered a lump, breast cancer. And what was interesting about this lump, and this is something that you don't take lightly when you receive news like that, it hits you between the eyes. And it's something that you question. But fortunate enough for me, I had already started on my personal development road. And I knew that this was just a huge shove. My body was giving me that huge shove. Wake up. What are you going to do? And that place where that lump was on my heart, across my heart area, that was actually the point of saying, where are you not speaking from your heart? You have been nurturing everybody around you. You've been doing everything for everything, but you have not spoken your true voice from your heart. So that took me on my journey, my next journey. So that was stage 2. We're in the trenches, we're digging, we're in the mud. We're starting to surface. We come into that stage 3 of retirement. And that is, what is my purpose? And I knew, I had deep down inside of me, I knew that I could heal myself from my cancer naturally. I knew what I did not need any external validation. I knew what I needed to do. And I went on that journey. And I realized I had a story to share, a story to give and share to women, to inspire them, to give them hope, and to awaken their voices. So I went on a journey of finding my voice and becoming and getting accreditation of becoming a public speaker, a coach. Why am I fumbling over my words right now? Excuse me, I need a sip of water. I actually lost my voice 2 days ago, thanks to my grandchildren. And I then realized with this valuable, precious thing called my voice that needed to find its way out there, I started doing very much similar to what, and not the same as what Jen does, but is bringing women's voices, but getting their stories. It's their stories I wanted to awaken in women, because deep down inside of us, there is an untold story. And don't tell me you don't have a story. That's not true. We all have a story to share. And once you are able to voice that, it has a ripple effect. Not only a ripple effect, it has the healing for self and healing for all those that are listening. So it's like a legacy you're leaving. Doesn't matter what your story is, you have a story. And so this is where my stage 3 was, my purpose. I found my purpose. I've been put on this earth to share my voice. And hell, I'm going to be doing that. And by creating a community is the stage 4 of retirement, is having people around me, people that we're here together today, either listening, participating. And that is the joy of life. And on the same thing, actually, you know what I'm going to say is I'm going to invite you to consider the retirement. Retirement can be at any age. Hey, you don't have to be 50, 60, whatever it is. Retirement can be any age. So I'm inviting you to think about your retirement. What is it that you're going to do with it? I'm going to share a couple of stories after this with people because I've got so fascinated with it. I interviewed quite a lot of people, but there are 2 people that stood out really very much for me around retirement. And my question is, think about your retirement. What are you going to do with it? Don't sit in a rocking chair and have your life pass away. And don't waste it. Think of the things, think about the things that you truly value, the things that you never got to do. And go out and do it. Have fun. Hell, this is what life's all about, having fun. I'll tell you about these. I went on I went out there and interviewed people on retirement. Now, I've got to introduce you to John. Old John. John's an Uber driver, and he came to pick me up. And I learned later on that he was around the late 70s. He arrived in a very smart suit, white shirt, collar, car polished, came out, opened the back door for me, opened, pristine, clean inside. And I got in, I said to him, "Oh my gosh, are you going off to work?" He said, "No." He said, I am working. He said, "I used to be a CEO of a big company and I retired." He said, "And I watched my friends who were also owners of companies sit in their armchairs." He said, "I had a friend die the other day." He said, "I'm not going to go that way." So every morning I dress as if I'm going to work. I meet the most amazing people on my rides. We have fantastic conversations. And then in the afternoon, it's my time. I go home, I work in my veggie garden, I go for a swim, I go for a walk, and then I do the same thing tomorrow. I thought, oh my God, there's another form of him finding his purpose. And he's got a community, and it's the beautiful people out there that he's giving his service to. And that was it just hit me. I thought, oh, bless him. And let me tell you about Diane. Now, Diane, she was a real dynamo. Diane works at the co-op just down the road. Now, if you don't know what a co-op is, it's one of these places where women come and bring their knitted bits, and they made jams and chutneys, and they bring it to this place and they sell it. And Diane was there sitting behind the counter. And I approached her and I said, because she looked amazing. She looked as if she was in her late 60s, dressed well, everything. She just looked really, and she was so vivacious. And her energy was like, oh, it was exuding in that shop. And I said, wow, what gives? Why are you here? And she said, well, I'm almost 80, which I couldn't believe it. And she said, I used to own my own business and I retired at the age of 60. And you know what? Within 3 weeks, I was so damn depressed. I knew I had to do something else. And she said, heaven forbid that I be one of those grey nomads that hook a trailer up or a caravan on the back of the car and off I tootle around the country. She said, do you know how many divorces happen within 3 years of this little excursion around driving? So many divorces, and those caravans get sold. So she said, I wasn't going to go there. She says, in any case, husband and I have lived almost, we've all been working. Suddenly you jammed into this little container for how long? So she had me, just the way she expressed it, it was so funny. And she said, you know what I went on to do? I got my hands and I started making felt items, and I made felt jackets that I now exhibit in art exhibitions, because I use a silk thread with my felting. And she makes the most beautiful things. And here was another example of Diane, who's taken what she used to do, knows what she doesn't want, and she's just elevated, and she's given people joy with what she's made. And by the way, I walked past her shop yesterday, and she came out and she said, I made this for you. Please use it for your talk. So I am wearing a little bit of Diane. Thank you, Diane. And so my closing message to you is a beautiful quote by Mark Twain, and I'll probably get it a little bit wrong, but here we go. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed about the things that you didn't do than the things you've done. So throw off those bowlines, set sail from the harbor, and catch the trade winds in your sails. Explore, dream, and discover. Do not waste your time. It's precious. Thank you.
Ah, my gosh, Shane, this was beautiful. So beautiful. Oh, I'm so pleased. Y'all, this has been a dreamy 90 minutes, truly, a dreamy 90 days. There's this, we become so close to one another. We sharpen one another in this cohort. And all of you, I applaud you. I celebrate you, each of you, what you have done with your voices, what you're going to continue to do. It's the sky is the limit, whether it's podcasts, whether it's stages, whether it's conferences, whether it's conversations with complete strangers. Each of you are going to use your voices and are already using your voices in really powerful ways. And I'm so proud of each of you. I celebrate all 5 of you. And to our audience, I am so thankful you were here with us and that you were such a gorgeous support. I hope you felt as fed and nourished as I did. And that you were also inspired to go, what is it I might have to say? Is it for a stage? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's for speaking up in meetings. Maybe it's in a boardroom. Maybe it's in your activism or your advocacy. It doesn't matter. All I encourage you to do is to continue to find that truest voice, the one that is of your spirit and soul. It's in your body. It's not just all this chatter in your head necessarily. There is a truer, deeper knowing, and it has a voice. And I wish that for each of you, and that you would use that voice in beautiful ways in your world, in your relationships, in your homes, in your communities. It matters. And if you need support in that, that is my jam. I mean, that's what I love to do. I've put my email, I've put my website. I will send you all an email afterwards so you can know more delicious things about this group of women, because who knows, you may have felt a kinship with them and you went, ooh, I need to resonate. I've resonated with her. I need to be in touch with her. I need to know more about her or what she does. or you want some support from me and you want tips and tools and want to tap into my world so that I can support you. Whatever it is for you that you need, I'm about it. I am a stand for you. And I'm so glad you were here. Thank you for being with us. Two real women speaking anywhere in the world, wherever you are right now. I cheer you on. Thanks for being here.